2023 marked 20 years since the release of arguably the greatest Australian album in history, Hilltop Hoods The Calling. Yet despite such a monumental anniversary for such an important album of hip-hop culture in Australia, there was virtually no celebration of this. No live shows, no vinyl release. What's going on? What up, legendary behaviour? As a rapper growing up in Australia in the mid-2000s, The Calling was everything. The Calling absolutely set it off for LGNDRK as he was about to embark on his legendary rap career. And when he heard the words, "It's a Swan," on the radio, on the Hilltop Hoods song Dumb Enough, that was enough to convince LGNDRK to just go for it. And LGNDRK knows he's not the only one who was influenced by this to the point of actually starting a rap career. That album sprung the next generation of people who think they could rap in Australia, and I don't think this is celebrated enough. So let's speculate on why this album has not been celebrated. One question that I have is it because it was on Obese, and maybe the Hilltop Hoods, when they moved from Obese over to Golden Era, maybe they didn't want to celebrate their stuff. I mean, obviously, Nosebleed Section is undeniable, and so that song has to still be played to this day. But the rest of the songs, I don't know what the rights are. I don't know what the rules are around this. I don't know what their relationship with Obese is, what they own, what they don't own. Because as a rapper, you sort of have to get screwed by a record label at some point in your career to really be taken as legit and to really know what you got. I'm not saying that's what happened with Obese, but Obese isn't really doing much these days, so I want to know the full story. I'd love them to spill the tea, if you will, on their relationship with Pegs and Obese, and just know what went on, because I've got a lot of questions, guys. If you want to speculate, put that down in the comments too. Let me know what you think. So in celebrating this amazing album by the Hilltop Hoods, The Calling, we're going to break down the top 4 tracks from The Calling, according to LGNDRK. And this playlist will include those songs and different videos that are up of them, but it will also include my legendary thoughts on them all. Now, obviously, in any top 4 of The Calling, you have to include the absolute monster of a song, Nosebleed Section. They still play it live to this day. In fact, it's probably the only song from The Calling that they still play to this day. And despite really muddying the waters of what the Nosebleed Section of a crowd is, and they've acknowledged this as well, it is a massive banger. And it launched them on radio, it launched them into festivals, it launched them into just the stratosphere of Australian hip-hop, and took the whole genre all around the world. So Nosebleed Section definitely deserves its props. It was so big that they got sued for using the sample, which is, once you get sued for using a sample, then you have really made it, because no one's going to sue you till you have any money. And I think they got bucket loads from that. Another big song from this album, which is one of LGNDRK's personal favourites, is Dumb Enough. Look, Dumb Enough was the song that just totally got me into the Hoods. Once I heard It's a Swan, I thought, gee, these guys are lyrical legends. It's elegant, and when I heard It's a Swan on the radio, I knew at that point I had to become a rapper. Because if you can get away with saying that sort of stuff, then I definitely had a place in Australian hip-hop. An amazing live song. They don't do it anymore. And LGNDRK might discuss that a little later in a lyrical breakdown of Dumb Enough, and, wonder why the Hilltop Hoods don't play arguably one of their greatest live songs ever. Testimonial year, that's got to be included. It was an amazing introduction to the Hilltop Hoods, who they are, where they've come from, how long they've been rapping for. They broke down all of their stats, and that's what you need at the start of a game. You really want to know who you're dealing with. A really good start to the album. Lovely jazzy number, just eased you into it before you went too nuts. One of the greatest Australian stories ever put on wax, The Sentinel. Now, this was included as a bit of a bonus track on The Calling after it had already been released on an obesity compilation or something like that earlier. But The Sentinel is just such an amazing story. It's the Australian version of Hotel California. It's just such a mystery, such a mysterious story. Is it a true story? I don't know. That's for the Hilltop Hoods to say. But it really is an amazing story, and we should pay tribute to this song. So look, I mean, that was my top 4. That was Legendary Behaviour's top 4 by LGNDRK. And going through how they celebrated it, I'm not that happy. I wish they would have done. Really wish they would have done better. But not to worry, okay? We can celebrate it. What was your favourite songs on The Calling? I think you should comment below. Give us your top 4. There's plenty I've missed out. There's the song The Calling, which is amazing. What else? Working the Mic. Things like that. Just such classic songs that I would love to hear live once more. So what I want to look at here is the only thing that the Hilltop Hoods really did to recognise this, which I found a bit disappointing, guys. So Suffer, Pressure, Debris. I just want you to know I'm a little disappointed. Okay? Happy to speak about it. Now look, there was an Instagram post that they posted which said, today is the 20th anniversary of The Calling. Here's a little photo video dump to celebrate. That was on the 22nd of September. Now look, what they say there is that they're showing a whole bunch of just memories of it, which it was just a completely different time back then. This is the original cover. What a classic, featuring their ninja. They're featured very prominently on their albums after this as well. So this is the original cover. Obviously the re-release has a different illustration, still the same guy on the cover. Then followed by the original press shot by Pulling Strings. This photo was used all over the place. It was it was on Stealth magazine, and it was just used in basically everything, just them looking mean. Suffer in the front with his Kangol. Kangols were very acceptable then. Some would say they still are, and everyone just looking real mean there. Yeah, not the happy-go-lucky guys we've come to know since. Number 3 was an unused photo from it, with Suffer looking bored on the steps, baggy pants, big jackets, classic Hilltop Hoods of its time. Now this one is a remix of Mike Felon that was used. There's some audio of this. Pressed on clear vinyl by a guy in New Zealand. They only did a run of 20 in order to work out what the pressings were like. They were not good. The flip side had a remix of Working the Mic. Not bad. It was a classic bass line. And look, I know Mike Felon didn't make my top 4, but also a really good story was by Pressure on this occasion. That is a great song. That is probably going to be featured in many people's top 4s from The Calling, but not Legendary Behaviours today, unfortunately. Number 5, a photo from Melbourne the weekend of The Calling launch at Cherry Bar. How about that? Cherry Bar. They made the Cherry Bar. That's pretty exciting. If only they'd known what was to come, right? The flyer for the Adelaide album launch at Planet Nightclub. Designed himself, I assume this is Suffer, using a bootleg of Photoshop that Debris gave him. As you can tell, graphic design was not my passion. Look, I think he did a pretty good job. I like the font. I like that there's just so much information on there. Featuring Pegs, Layla, DJ Bones, Hijack, Torture, Funkors, Train of Thought. What a big night. Can you imagine going back to a night like this? Oh, I only wish that I could. I only wish that they would perform these songs live again so I didn't need to. I don't like to time travel unnecessarily, but I may need to. Now these next few are the Adelaide album launch with Trials, Debris and Trials there obviously. That's them performing. And there's Pressure just looking mean, drinking a Crownie. That dates it. Who drinks Crownies anymore, honestly? Pressure probably still does, keeping it real. And a pretty tidy remix of Testimonial Year. Let's hear that, with a photo of the studio. Also quite jazzy. People to get drunk to. Yeah, good times. So, look, and I mean, this is all they've done. I mean, you can see that Illy actually wrote how many lives this album changed beyond iconic. And I got to agree, Illy, it absolutely was iconic. And look, it's a real shame that we're not really doing anything to celebrate it. So, at Legendary Behaviour, if they're not going to celebrate it, we're going to bloody celebrate it because we care about it. If they don't care as much as us, that's fine. But we're going to celebrate it. And maybe this might evoke a feeling from them that they think, well, maybe we do need to do it. And continue that. Every 20-year celebration of any of their albums, please come and do it. So, comment below, get in touch, let us know what you think, and hopefully we can really celebrate this. I've got a whole playlist coming out where I'm going to do a lyrical breakdown of Dumb Enough, because it needs to be done. I'm going to do a video commentary of Testimonial Year, because it needs to be done. And I'm going to explain why The Sentinel is the greatest story ever told in Australian hip hop. Maybe ever. I don't know. We'll see where it takes us. And then a very special new release shirt celebrating that song. Stay tuned to the playlist. If you're watching this not on YouTube, then follow the link to go to YouTube and watch the playlist. Hilltop Hoods The Calling, 20 years, legends. Chicka chicka.